if we are getting organized, these things you can research. These things you can talk to people about. These things you can research. This one requires everyday work. This is a task, in other words. So when we talk about place brand management as something that should be done, then it means that which people are responsible for looking at the projected image. Which people are responsible for advising politicians, governments, big companies. If you do this, what you have planned to be doing for these reasons, that might have a side effect over here that you haven't really taken into account. That is a mindset. But it's first and foremost a job description. A place brand manager is not somebody that puts a logo on everything. A place brand manager is somebody that advises everybody that influences the image of the place on how is that going to help or challenge our common strategy of where this reputation of our place should be going. And that is sort of like the central part where we say job description, place brand management, where you have all these things in part. You can basically boil it down to a very simple metric. This one. And I'm now assuming that you know what your place brand strategy is, right? And that you have a system in place where you will be able to signal how stuff will influence your place brand. Now you have two axes here. One of them is off-brand, on-brand. First thing, it's not binary. It's not yes or no. It's from -10 to +10. Now, let's say that you have a brand strategy where you say, well, we're really open, inclusive, or whatever, right? Something like that. And the actions that you do as a government or a city is against that. Okay? Then you are not just, neutral, but you're actually acting in how do you say that? In opposition to your values and your propositions. So this means that we need to have a system where we say, like, well, if we are promising that the things we want to be known for, the things we hold dear, the values that we really want to use as the guiding principles, as the question mark in our city, then we need to define how we would deliver that, but also when we would actually do the opposite, when we would hurt it. That's this one. The other one is the impact. So, a lot of different things has very little impact on the image of your place, right? But some things have very high impact. If you build a new building next to Central Station, that's gonna tell something about your place for 50, 60, 70 years. If you do something on the main walking routes through the city, that's gonna have a higher impact than if you do that in a second neighborhood where people only come if they live there. So there's a geographical way that you can look at impact. Some areas, for example, inner cities, right? They are, per definition, they have a higher impact than other places. But there's also some things that have a lot of communicative reach of exposure, right? So if you have a big campaign where you tell the whole world, or you have a mega event like the cultural capital, that will, at least for a couple of years, have a pretty high impact on your image. So you can use this as some way of prioritizing, that you say, like, well, if you have a proposal for cultural capital of Europe in, Pula, how would that actually then be used when it has a high impact? How can we then use it to get maximum effect in terms of reputation management? And this is not only about big events, it's also about very many small things, right? So if you have a lot of small activities, they all have low impact, right? But if there are many of them, right, and they might move up here, then you can strategically decide to bundle them and present them as a cluster, and then it moves up in that direction. What we use this for is before a decision has been made. If we don't change anything of this decision right now, how would it score? Yeah? And then we strategize and talk about, well, what could we do to that European Capital of Culture thing to make sure that it would move a little bit more in that direction? Or the smaller ones here, how could we increase the impact? This one is the task of the place brand manager. So the place brand manager's task is to signal and advise where something is on this scale and how it could move upward. It's a very simple job description. And there are people in the position to do this, and that's their job. So they make, using this axis a couple of times a week in event strategies, real estate developments, tourism promotion campaigns, you name it. The chief lesson, if it wasn't already clear, is of course that actions, what we do, speaks much louder than words. So maybe, just maybe, place brand management is not so much about what we say, but what the actions say about our place. And the only way we can achieve that is to integrate place brand management in our spatial decision making.